Hey y'all, it's Sarah. I'm bringing a pretty easy craft to you guys today. This is a scraps craft. I wanted something easy while I'm still kind of on the mend from my car crash. So I wanted something that was super simple. I could just sit and do several at one time. This is going to be such an easy craft, and I think it's cute. I can't wait to put these to use at Christmas time. So let me go ahead and jump in and show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to be using some just scrap pieces that I have. I've got some skewers out. You'll see what those are for. One, I'm going to show you to put a hole in our project. The other one, we're going to be kind of using to hold these little guys in place. These are some Dollar Tree vase fillers, and they're little styrofoam balls, so we're going to be using those. I'm using just some Dollar Tree twine, whatever ribbon that you kind of want to pick. And I'm going to be using black and white chalk paint to paint my little foam filler balls. You can go with whatever color. I think gray and white would be really cute, or any kind of color scheme that you're working towards. So let me slide this out of the way, and I want to show you guys exactly what I'm working on. We're going to be making some gift tags. So I'm going to slide this over and show you my little gift tags. I've got a couple different styles, but they all kind of coordinate with each other. And we're going to jump in and do these. So the first step that I did, I took some shortcuts on this, guys, just to show you, because I kind of assumed that you could figure out how you wanted to paint yours. And it took a little time for my paint to dry, because I used a really heavy thick coat to cover my glitter surface, so it took a while for them to dry. I knew it would, so I went ahead and jumped ahead, and this is what I did. I took and divided out my sizes of what I wanted to use, and just kind of threaded them across just a normal skewer stick. I will tell you though, when you're going to thread them in, if you spin your stick a little bit, it does help get through these a little better and a little straighter. But I want to give you a heads up. There's something there in the center. It's got like a kind of a little bit of a hard spot in the center of these that'll make you struggle to pop through. So watch your fingers, because I stabbed myself quite a bit. Okay, so I went through, sorted mine out. I did find it easier to paint the glittery white balls with the white paint, and then the silver balls with my black. And really, that's not going to matter, just as long as you get good coverage. But I did find that easier. So all I've done with my little tags, or my little tag pieces, is take my scraps and cut them down. And I'll show you really quick what I did to get that nice, even tag look. So I've got two scraps that are already pre-cut. These particular ones are scraps for my 3-inch wide strips, and I cut them down to 4 1/4. I actually started with several that were 4 1/4 and found that that was actually a really nice size and balance for that. So I'm just going to come in really quick, and here's how I lined up getting that nice kind of tapered in sides. I'm going to flip over to the back just so maybe you can see where I marked this a little better. So I came over 3/4 of an inch here. I came over 3/4 of an inch here. And then I came down an inch. So it had a nice little taper to it. And you don't have to do that many lines on there, or do your lines that large or big, because ultimately I'm going to finish the back of mine, so I'm going to have to erase that, but I wanted you guys to be able to see a little better. So all I did from this point was go right from that 1-inch spot over to this 3/4 of an inch mark on both sides. And that got me a nice little taper. The other thing I wanted to show is while you're doing this part, it's a good time to go ahead and mark out where you're going to want your hole centered at. So my strips are usually 3 inches wide. This one is 3 inches wide. So the center of that is going to be 1.5 inches. And I'm just marking over 1.5 inches so that I know where to go. And I'm actually going to show you 2 different ways to put holes in this and get a nice clean hole inserted. So I'm going to have to mark this on the front, on that 1/2 part. So I've got 2 options on getting the hole. One is this shorter, slightly larger skewer stick that Dollar Tree carries, or something similar to it. This point is important because if not, you will kind of blow out your paper if you just poke anything through there. It just kind of rips it apart. So this tends to work better. All I'm going to do is take this and slide it down in there and spin it as I go. And it's pressing all of my painted paper down into that hole so it doesn't look like it's blown out and ripped out. And I'm just going to pull that all the way through. And there you go. You have a nice clean hole. That makes it a little easier, and you can see why I say be careful, because even with this, it blew kind of that back section out for me. And for those of you that may be old school scrapbookers and actually have this tool available, I'm going to mark this so that I know where that center is. I want to show you. I have a Crop-a-dile. These things are amazing. They will punch through anything. I actually have 2 of these. This is a larger version, but they will punch through just about anything. This started in the scrapbook industry, and it works like butter in metals and woods and chipboard and even foam core. So I'm just going to line it up with that little punch. I'll try to be sure to get a link up for this tool because it is good for lots and lots of things. So you see it just punched straight through that like butter. And really quick, I'm just going to go ahead and mark these sides off while I have this sitting in front of me. If I'm already doing the work, I might as well add this one to it. Okay, so I've got those cut down really quick. The thing that I ended up doing for all of mine is erasing out any of my little marks that I might have made on the back side. And I just came in with my favorite little mix. Guys, if you're looking for the tutorials on how to get this paint look, this is kind of more geared to using up scraps. But if you're looking for this particular one right here is the salvage barnwood. The paint tutorials I keep separate. That way I can put more detail into how to get that paint look. So I'm just going to slide these down to, let's see, I can slide them to here. I'm going to go ahead and do the backs of mine a little bit. And at least get it a little covered that I don't have any white kind of peeking out at me. I'm going to do those cut edges. And we're going to get a nice clean piece that looks... my backs are not great, but from a side view, if it's just dangling there, you don't see a bunch of bright white right there. So that's how I got to the tag look. And you can do those really in any size you want to. You have a big gift that you're going to give away. This is a great way to kind of up the look of gift tags. And that's what my plan is for them, is out of a couple of strips, you can get quite a few. If you're doing 3-inch strips like I typically have at 30 inches, you're getting at least 7 tags out of that. So this is a really economical way to me to get some really kind of high-end looking tags. So I'm going to jump into kind of assembly for this. I went ahead and sat with my ribbon and handmade a whole bunch of small bows. I have some that have small bows, and you can see some that have larger bows. I had some down at the base of my little beaded part, and then I have some here at the tassel. So I wanted to show those couple options. And I'm going to go ahead and start stringing these things on. Okay, I wanted to grab a couple things to show you when it comes to stringing these little guys on. Now that mine are good and dry, I can slide them off of here. I'll pull a few of these off. Like I said, this is something that you could honestly sit and do kind of idly while you're doing something else, which I kind of liked because right now I feel like I'm doing a little bit of extra sitting. So this is something I wanted to show you guys, and I don't know how well you can see that. This is a dental flosser. So you use it to thread dental floss. You get it right next to the flosses and stuff. And it's a really good way to kind of thread things along, especially bigger things. If you want to thread ribbon through something, the hole on it's really large, so you can fit anything in there, and it's going to squeeze into about anything that you want to play with. There's several in a package since they're disposable. So that one's a really good one to use. That's probably my favorite because I struggle trying to get some of the bigger things and needles like this. So you can always use just an upholstery needle. Dollar Tree has the hair weave sewing needles. You could use that. You can also just take something like a thin piece of floral wire, and let me grab my scissors. Just cut a little piece of that off. Bend it in half, and you're basically making your own needle. Put your thread through and squeeze those little prongs together to thread them through. It makes it a little easier because our skewers did help make our holes for us. And I'm going to use the one that I find easiest, which is this floss one. And I did a couple with 4 beads, a couple with 5 beads. And I liked the look of both. That's really a personal choice on how long you want that tag to be. I'm going to stick with the 4 beads. I found it to be a nice length when it was all complete. But that really is personal preference. So, and you can see how easy that works out. I'm going to come in, slide this through my tag. And for me, now this is not necessary. You can kind of work this out any which way you want to. I went back through and threaded straight back up through these. Now that that's looped around, you can kind of see where that comes up. And I pulled back through every one of these beads. So it's basically double looped through. Now, if I wanted to, I could have gone through it double with this little flosser, because at the end you can just break it off. Since it's disposable, you can break it off and have it threaded through double. And this part's really not as hard as you would think. So we've threaded these back through kind of at a double layer there in between. I left a little space here so that my tag could move around freely. That's up to you. You could pull it down really tight and keep that tag in place. I did leave just a little bit of space for some freedom. I've got my string probably, or my twine, quite a bit longer than what I'm going to need. But my next step is I'm just going to grab another one of my tags and use it to make my tassel. I'm going to come in, loop around here, I don't know, until it looks fairly nice. I feel like that's enough. I don't need a lot because I'm about to make this tassel fairly small. So I'm doing this one in half. I'll pop that off there. I'm doing this one in half. So instead of coming through these loops and making one long one, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to come in here, set that in my center. Use those strings that were hanging out of my beads to tighten that in place. I want to make sure that I've kind of pulled those loops center so that when I make them as a tassel, this also helps me let my tassel hang down more centered. So once I've got that tied on there, those extra long 2 little strings, I am going to pull one of those up, one of those 2 strings that were holding the end of this. Or you could pull both of them if you want to, depending on how thick you want your little twist area around your top of your tassel. around like the little head of your tassel. So I need to pull that tight. I did not pull that super tight. Well, while I was showing you and trying to show a little easier, I ended up making that harder for me. Let me loop that back. Maybe I can show you this time. All right, let's try this again without letting my fingers get tangled up while I'm trying to show you details. Okay, so what I did was take the 2 long strings that were hanging off our beaded part, tie them in the middle of this thing, these loops, and that's going to hold it in place literally dead center. Your tassel will hang down dead center. So now I'm going to fold these guys down. Pull those really tight. Make sure I've got that nice and tight. I'm going to pull the 2 longer strands down. That's going to wrap around to make my little head of this. Maybe you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to hold that in place. Swing it around here. I want to come down over the top so that these 2 strings kind of pull down with the other strands of the tassel. Guys, I know I look clumsy showing you this. It really is pretty easy. I think you can see how that goes. So now these are going to blend down into here. I'm just going to tie a little knot. Make sure they don't come unraveled on me. That automatically kind of made the little strands there around. And now all I've got to do is just come in and clip all of these even, give them a nice little trim. So when you're doing tassels with twine, they can kind of look a little bit crazy on you. When they flare out, they can go a little crazy. If you take a little water bottle, I have a small handheld water bottle from just the travel bath section there at Dollar Tree that I keep. If you spritz those down a little, let me try not to get any of my other stuff wet, and kind of use it to dampen that and twist it in place. When it dries, you'll have a nice, clean looking tassel. So there's that. The last thing that I am going to want to do is come in and I'm going to add a little bow somewhere. Anywhere you kind of want to add your bow. I liked it on both ends near my tassel and at the top of my tag, so I rotated that out. But this really is such an easy craft. I think I may have complicated a little bit trying to explain it, especially there on my knots. But it's a super easy craft. These are so cute for doing gift tags on your Christmas presents without really investing a whole lot of money. And one more thing that I wanted to show you really quick. I have this white chalk paint marker. It says it's a chalk marker. It's an Art Skills one, so a pretty affordable brand, but most of your chalk markers are going to work on this after they've been painted and they have kind of this waxy surface. So you could always come in and do something cute. Let me make sure that I get this marker kind of wet and started over here. There we go. Now I've gotten it kind of juicy here because I want the white to really be thick and pop. And I'm just going to come down. And do something really basic. Nothing fancy. I'm going to do kind of a primitive looking Christmas tree. Maybe my marker is not cooperating with me. It is being very uncooperative, but you get the idea that you can go in and do something very simple image-wise on this, and it's going to pop on that faux wood look really well. I will say that these markers, this one here, the reason that it's almost out of ink is because I actually do use it a lot. It's got, you can see where it was flowing really well. It's got great pigmentation for a white chalk marker. So don't blame the marker for my abilities here. The marker is really good. I've just used this one almost to its end. So that was everything I wanted to show you. I'm going to kind of sit back down and chill and finish out these. And when I get ready to wrap Christmas presents, I'm going to have a whole lot of adorable little tags with nothing but my scraps. And this one right here, it says there's 110 pieces in here. I don't know. I did not count. But I do know that I got quite a bit in this kind of mid to medium size. And you could do all of the sizes, to be honest. And you could do it just like the colors that they come in without even sitting and doing all the extra painting. So that would be really fun. But for just using your scraps and just a single bag of these, you'd end up with a lot of these tags. These could be really cute as ornaments themselves. I could see this working very well as an ornament. Go in and put monograms for everyone. Make it a specialized ornament. And you could do that with stickers even. And if you're not a Cricut user, just find some stickers that are going to pop on that and turn them all into monogram ornaments. Monogram them on your gifts. All kinds of ideas. But I at least kind of wanted to share while I was doing easy peasy crafts, because I personally, even if I'm supposed to take it easy, I really wanted to do something crafty. So I thought this is a really good thing for me to just sit and do idly. It's no big deal. It's mostly just kind of threading them together. So I hope this gives you some ideas, and I hope you guys get to craft. I will be talking to you soon, hopefully, and y'all have a great day. Bye.